what would each of you tell your 17-year-old self?
Well, let's not answer time travel questions like buy Bitcoin or some stupid shit like that. Let's actually, what would I stop wasting your time? So I was 17. I was working at a fast food restaurant making sandwiches. Now the internet didn't really exist as such, but looking back on it, it was part of my journey, and I regret nothing because I ended up where I am. So would I even go back and tell myself anything? Is the question. If I had to. It would be to not burn so much of my time. Let's talk to the 17-year-olds who are listening. You know, do you finish your job, come home, play video games, etc.? That's what I used to do when I was 17 a little bit. What I didn't do is come home and think, okay, fuck, let's work on something new. Let's try and build something. Let's start a YouTube channel. Let's start creating content instead of consuming content. I'd tell myself to be a little bit more proactive with my free time and not fuck around so much. Starling, let's go on the line.
I'd tell myself, don't bother pursuing like a chemistry degree and go straight into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
That was basically it.
Like, so you have a chemistry degree?
I do. I have a double degree in chemistry.
So you were mixing the drinks tonight then?
I think you're
come on, chemistry boy.
Why don't you believe in traditional education?
It's a complete
this is important because this is one of the biggest proportions. This is one of the biggest proportions of people's lives in debt, and it's also one of the biggest lies that's purported by society. This is a really big, important subject. So why, as someone who's been through the educational system, because I've never been through it, right? I have my views on it, but you've been through it. Why do you not firmly believe in the educational system?
Well, first of all, university is just one big booze up for the most part. It's like a 4-year booze up.
That would be terrible.
Losers.
Well, we booze with purpose.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's a booze up that you're paying for in debt, right? You're wasting all the most precious years of your life. These years where you've got so much vitality and inspiration and drive and hunger. And instead of actually channeling that into, learning a monetizable skill, which you can get financial independence from and location independence with, right? You're channeling it into rote learning something, ending up in a career where you're going to be miserable working a 9-to-5 job for the rest of your life, and maybe running around chasing after some pussy. That's really what you're spending 4 years doing. That time would be much better spent learning practical, valuable skills like sales, marketing, et cetera, things that in today's day and age, which you can leverage your time on so you can live a lifestyle you actually want to, because freaking you talk about this all the time. Like the collapse is coming, man. And we're very fortunate that we kind of got out early enough.
Yeah.
But some of these young kids who are, if you're a young kid right now in university, man, a traditional university, I feel sorry for you. Like, that's scary. That would scare the shit out of me.
Dark days are coming. Dark days are coming. Justin Waller, what would you tell a 17-year-old version of yourself? I wonder if I'm going to get flagged for racism, racial discrimination.
You should.
Hey, I used to live in Indiana. If I'd never moved to London, I'd be talking like you too. That's why I nail the accent so perfectly. That's a poll right there. All right, you talk, I'll do the poll.
What's the poll?
Did I nail the accent?
Yeah, you nailed it. Man, 17? I would tell you that if it hurts, you might be doing the right thing.
That's good.
Go find pain. Most of the time, you're going to find a reason. If you think something is going to hurt or it's scary to you, that's probably what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's going to the gym, if it's going to talk to that girl that nobody else will go talk to because she's too pretty, if it's taking a fight or trying to make a sale that's bigger than you thought it should be, going after some big kind of revenue, asking for a contract that's bigger than what you're used to or you think that is possible for you.
Injuring yourself playing American football like you did? You got a badass scar, by the way.
Yeah, it's a bad boy. Go do something that's painful, whether it be from physical pain or fear. And most of the time, if you can find that and go towards it, go looking for that pain, especially at that young age when your testosterone's so high, then you're probably doing the right thing. You're probably on the right path. Do that. You know in your gut. Do that. Go after that.
17-year-old Andrew, what would you tell yourself?
I think Justin actually nailed it.
He did.
I know you nailed it.
Do hard things.
Name a single attribute for masculinity, which is going to come from a place other than trauma or pain. I talk about this all the time. People say, I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life. Now, you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail, as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma, and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your heart's going to get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be anything that matters. So Justin just absolutely and utterly nailed it. My kickboxing coach used to say to me, I used to come in the gym, say, what do you hate the most? And I said, I hate running. He said, okay, you're going running. I say, why? He goes, because whatever you hate is what you need. Whatever you hate is what you need. I want to spar, bag work, pads, no problem. Running, I didn't want to run, but that's what you need. And that's what life's about. You're not going to be able to go through life avoiding pain and also becoming a man of quality. You're going to have to be that guy who's been through so much shit that he can wake up and go, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing compared to back then. This ain't nothing compared to that time. You know, and if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to always suffer the consequences of not being that guy. There's pain to become important, and there's pain in not being important. So you have to make a choice. So I think Justin absolutely nailed it. I think his answer is even better than mine could be. You need to find something you're afraid of, find something that could hurt you, and go do it. And that's one of the great things about being young, right? You're basically superhuman.
Yeah.
All of us are our age. We're all in our 30s. I remember when I was 21, bro, I could
through a wall.
Bro, I could drink all night.
Yeah.
I run 20 miles.
Fight all
you couldn't
day.
hurt me. Like I had Wolverine-like healing abilities. And this is actually one of the problems with the world today. I noticed the internet's fucked this up because we have all these youngsters who have a voice. They all think they know something on Twitter and on the internet, these kids, right? When I was 23, 22, I didn't know shit. I'm 35 now. I'm one of the smartest men on the planet. And when I was 23, I didn't know shit. When you're 35, you're definitely going to still be a dumbass. So when you're 23, like you are now, you don't know anything. Your only attribute is the fact you have Wolverine-like healing abilities and you're not using it. Stop talking, start listening, get out there, get hurt, get the fuck back up. And there's a degree. There's also something I want you to comment on from the football perspective, but there is a degree of wisdom that comes from physicality. I learned a whole bunch of shit about the world from just having my ass kicked. It wasn't even conversations. It was just getting beaten up. And you learn about the world I write tweets and people are like, that's so wise. Where'd you learn that? I was like, oh, kicked in the face. That's how.
Yeah. I didn't learn shit in the classroom in college. I learned everything on the field. And what it does when you go find pain in the real world, when it's emotionally hard, you can go back to, oh, I physically have gone through way worse than this. So I trust myself in a different way.
It's true.
And what I'd add to that about what Andrew was saying is that you can tell the size of a man by the size of his problems.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to get your ass out there and go find pain, because pain is in big problems. And then also, like you said, as you're able to take on bigger and bigger problems, those things get less and less painful. So a lot of people, like that Facebook thing we're looking at the other day, guys like, it's $80 for a half a tank of gas. That means he can't fill his tank up.
Yeah.
I am so far past. I had that problem in high school, $5 at a time,
Me
bro.
too.
You know what I'm saying?
I ran out of gas.
Yeah, we were like I remember like gauging, okay, shit, I can go this much past E before I have to push this motherfucker. Go find big problems, because in those problems are pain. And the more pain you can take and the more problems you can solve, the bigger those problems are, the bigger you'll be as a man. And it's my favorite quote. You can tell the size of a man by the size of his problems. Go get some.
No, absolutely. And I think that's another thing that actually has a huge correlation to your ability to be successful. If someone were to say to me and say, how can you tell someone's going to be successful? I wouldn't say highest IQ. And we've already proved this with studies, right? The highest IQ has nothing to do with how successful you are.
It doesn't.
I would say the number one thing that will tell me how successful a person will be, especially as a man, is their stress tolerance.
Yes.
You're not going to have a big life without big problems. You're not going to be important without 4 girlfriends, 22 cars, 3 businesses. Fuck, your phone ain't going to stop. It's going to be stressful. Banks are going to get frozen. Money's going to go missing. You're not going to have a big life that's a calm ocean. You need to learn to just surf the waves and laugh, because most people just collapse under the pressure. Stress tolerance is a massive indicator of how successful you're going to be. And no matter what happens in my life now, I can sit there and go, well, at least I'm not about to get in the cage and deal with that guy, you know? And you need to have, at least I can eat. We've all been through stages where we can't eat. So stress tolerance is something that can be learned. It's something that you can, like you said, when you're young, it's a muscle.
It's a muscle.
When you're young, go out there and get stressed, get upset, have those sleepless nights. You should, at 17, 18, you should be panicking, right? And that's going to give you a stress tolerance level that allows you to grow into an adult, which can handle a big life. You're not going to have a big life. You're not going to be here like all 4 of us are, living the life like we're living, rolling around Europe in supercars with unlimited finance, and have that big life and think that you're not going to have any kind of stress or problems to get there and maintain it. That's not real.
I'll end this with a quotation I really like from a book I read. It says, happiness is a lot like the castles and fairy tales that we used to read as a children, in the way that they're all guarded by dragons. I like that. You got to get through the dragon to reach that fucking castle. I'm telling you.
What's like your advice to a guy who's whatever? He could be coming out of university or in his 30s, but he's like looking for a little direction. How do you start off, get centered to become successful? You know, get money, get bitches. Like what would you tell them?
I can answer that question in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 10 different answers I can give. But I think truthfully, in the world we're living in now, I use this analogy a lot. Maybe I overuse it, but you need to find a way to some degree to escape the matrix. And I say the matrix because the matrix, the way it is designed.
And you're
now,
not just talking shit because you've actually done that.
I've escaped the matrix.
Yeah.
I've literally escaped the matrix in nearly every form. So any form of oppression no longer applies to me. I can't be canceled. No, I can say what I want. My finances are secure. I've escaped the matrix. And when I talk about the matrix, it primarily applies to men because men are the backbone of the slave force. We always have been and always will be. And unfortunately now, if you're a law-abiding man inside the matrix, your future and the life that is laid out for you is nothing but depressing. You're going to go to school. You're going to get in debt. You're going to get a job. You're going to get a wife. Divorce is coming. You're going to lose the house eventually. Your job's shit. Inflation's outpacing your wages. You're going to work. No one's going to appreciate it. Now you're old and your life's over. That is the matrix for 99% of men. And you need to find a way to escape it. And I guess I was kind of fortunate from a young age. I always knew that the matrix was coming and that the system is designed to oppress. The people who make the rules do not make the rules for the benefit of us. They make the rules for the benefit of the people who make the rules. And I knew that. And I think every person intrinsically knows that. Like if it's 4 a.m. and you're sitting in a gas station and a Lambo pulls up, you're probably thinking drug dealer or criminal. You're not thinking, oh, he definitely went to school. The system is absolutely broken. It's designed to oppress. And that the majority of people who stick to the rules are going to lose. I don't want to sit here on a podcast that goes out to this many people and encourage anyone to break the law in any form.
Of course.
But the idea of the law-abiding citizen has been decimated in real time. In the last 3 years ago, you could stand there and proudly say, I'm a law-abiding citizen. The last 2 years, if they have not taught you that being a law-abiding citizen is going to turn you nothing into a fucking experiment for Big Pharma, then you're an idiot. You can no longer obey the law. And I'm not saying you have to break the law, but you need to find a way to do what the elites do, which is bend the law.
Yeah.
You can no longer sit there and go, I'm just going to follow the rules and it's going to be okay. No, it isn't. And if you're a man, it's your job to find a way to not be sticking to those rules enough to escape the matrix and become free. Because what's actually most crazy about this period of history is that it's actually the easiest time in human history to become rich. And the reason for that is because there's so many people inside the matrix being destroyed. Money has to go somewhere. I've made so much money during COVID is absolutely incredible, right? Yeah. And a whole bunch of people got lucky.
What do you say to young men who come to you for advice, who feel lost, who don't really know where they fit into society?
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and good-hearted and God-fearing as possible. And I need to work hard to achieve those things. The dangerous thing about overly emotional men is that they're dangerous. They're genuinely dangerous. This is what's crazy. All these people who talk about toxic masculinity and how bad it is for men to be traditionally masculine. A traditionally masculine man does things he doesn't feel like doing because it is his duty to do them. He charges into the building because it is his duty. Not because he feels like it, because it is his duty. We're now teaching the new generation of men that they don't have duty and they can just act on their feelings and act how they feel and they don't have to act as a man should. Do you know what happens when you get men who just act how they feel? You get school shooters, you get violence, you get rapists. Men who do not control their emotions are dangerous. If you find a man who is stoic, he's not going to hurt people. He's going to sit and think about his actions very carefully, and he's going to be a good man who protects and provides for his family. You find a man who just acts out on impulse and does whatever he feels like, you're going to find a dangerous man. Sitting here telling men to cry more and act with their feelings and it's okay to feel this way, that way, etc., and have no self-control. That is why we have the problems we have in the world. Absolutely not wrong. So when they talk about toxic masculinity, they have it completely inversed on its head, completely not wrong. We need to be teaching stoicism. We need to be teaching young men to understand that the world is very, very difficult. It's hard to be a man. You're going to feel bad sometimes. You need to suck it up and perform anyway. Not just sit there and cry your eyes out or blame other people.
Tough
or
being a woman,
out.
Too, in modern society.
It's certainly tough being a woman, but I'm not a woman, so why would I speak on issues I do not understand? I'm a man.
What do you think is the hardest challenge for the average man?
That's a good question. It's a really good question. I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's all of the challenges and struggles that's going to make them, it's either going to make or break them. I don't read studies very often, but I was sent a study about stress from somebody. It's probably the best study I ever read. And it's talked about the placebo effect of stress. And it said that they took some of the most stressed people in the world, CEOs, etc. And the ones who believed that stress was really bad for them were dying earlier because of the cortisol inside of their blood. And they said stress was really bad for them, they were having heart attacks. But the ones who believed that stress was good for them and it made them perform, I perform under pressure, stress is good for me, they were living longer. So the same drug inside of their blood, how they framed it inside of their mind had different effects on their body. So from that point onwards, even though I already thought this way, I knew I was the right way. I knew it was the right way to think innately because I've done pretty good in life that way. But this confirmed it. Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's fucked. Good. Yes. Like, that's just how I am, right? But it's how you adopt, it's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel and the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems and he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because, like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long. Yeah. So I think that the number one problem with the world today and the biggest problem that men face isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they are been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. They don't understand that bad things happen to everybody. And the most successful person you know had all those, probably, maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it. That's the difference. So I don't pray for an easy life. I pray for a life of difficulty that allows me to become a better and better person. I pray to become more competent to handle problems. I pray to put myself in a position where if the mass media machine attempts its very best to destroy my life, I can laugh and smile from my villa in Dubai. Yeah. This is who I pray to become. I don't pray that nobody hurts me. I pray to be able to fight. So it's just a different mentality.
Where did that mentality come from? I know your background story. Listened to tons of your interviews. I know the big impact, especially your father, had on your life. Was there a single, or were there a handful of pivotal moments for you where your mindset just shifted? I know you've talked before about being young and seeing people driving by in flashy cars and it annoying you and not annoying the people around you. But I'm really curious to know where the Tate mindset came from.
It's a good question. I think a lot of people build their mindsets around trying to feel good. So that's why we were talking earlier about people who want to ignore the idea of personal responsibility or self-accountability because they feel better if they pretend it's not a real thing. They feel better if they pretend everything's someone else's fault. A lot of people's mental model and how they view the world is based around them feeling as good as possible. So when you sit there and talk to somebody who has the mask on and they refuse to believe the elites are laughing at them, it's not because they can't comprehend the ideas. It's because they feel better if they don't believe that they are a clown to the elites. I feel better if this is really all innocent and it's really all about a disease. So people are they're basing their mindsets around trying to feel good. I have always tried to base my mindset around absolute competence, regardless of how I feel. And there are certainly disadvantages to that. There are times you're going to be a lot more pessimistic, or you're going to be a lot more stressed, or a lot more, pissed off about certain things than others. Yeah, that can be seen as a downside. But like I said, I use all of those things for unlimited motivation to propel my endless upward trajectory. But if you construct a mindset that allows you to be as competent as possible, as opposed to feel any different or feel better, then you're going to naturally come to the conclusions I've come to. You're as competent as possible if you believe you can affect absolutely everything about your life. You're as competent as possible if you believe absolutely everything that's happened to you, whether good or bad, is completely your fault. You're as competent as possible if you believe the bad things that happen to you are going to allow you to work harder and become even better. When bad things happen to me, the first thing out of my mouth is good. Good. Andrew, they took $10 million out the bank because they canceled you. Good. Good. That's just my response. Good. Andrew, this happened. Good. 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 Now I'm really pissed. Good. This mindset I've constructed allows me to be as fearsome a competitor as possible. It allows me to be a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. And that's the point of a mindset. Why would you have a mental model or a mentality that made you anything less? In the ultra competitive world that we've just discussing that everybody wants the things you have, why would you absorb information or construct a mental model that doesn't allow you to be as competitive as possible? I am a feared competitor in anything I do. Anyone who's up against me at anything is going to feel a degree of nervousness just because it's me. It doesn't matter what it is. If you say, look, you're going to go learn how to play piano and you're going to play against someone else who's never played piano and you're going to learn, and that guy's Andrew Tate. You're going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. I can't even play piano. But part of them is going to be like, oh, not Tate. Even though I have no piano experience, because they just know me. They know my mindset. They know my determination. They know I'm stubborn. They know I don't quit. They know I'm going to win. That's just who I am. So I've constructed a mental model that allows me to be competent and to always succeed. And that's how I've come to the conclusions I've come to. And I truly, once again, don't understand how people go through the world with any other mental model. I get asked all the time, but what do you feel? Or what about happiness or depression? That doesn't even... How I feel doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. There are days where I'm pissed off or sad or happy. It doesn't cross my mind. It's just like I woke up, whatever mood I happen to be in, I have things I need to do. It's a busy day. Zuby's here soon. I need to go training before he gets here. I had a meeting with the bank at 7:15 a.m. I have shit to do. Like, I didn't cross my mind if I was happy, sad, excited. I just had to work. So I think my mental model, to a degree, I'm certainly not a person who doesn't feel emotions, because we're all human. I certainly do. But I've never prioritized them in any regard. I haven't built a mental model that affects... I haven't put them in the middle of my mental model and then affected my actions based on how I feel for each one. It's absolutely and completely the opposite. I would love to do a podcast on a day where I'm particularly sad and a podcast on a day when I'm particularly happy. And I guarantee you wouldn't be able to tell the fucking difference. So that's what allows me to be competitive, right? Because if you're competitive, if you want to be the most competitive predator on the planet, you have to be able to hunt in the day and the night. You have to be able to do both. You have to be able to perform when you're happy and sad. You can't only be able to perform when you're happy. You can't only go to the gym when you're motivated. You can't only be a competent person when your life's going well, because when your life's not going well, you're no longer competent. Then you're going to lose to people like me. And it's player versus player. If you're the kind of person who can only do well when you're happy and you're competing against someone like me who can do well all the fucking time, guess what? You lose. So my mental model, the answer is most of my opinions are just based around constructing a mental model that allows me to be brutally competitive. It's why I say depression isn't real. I've argued this point endlessly. And I try and explain to people, but they're not smart enough to understand that I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care. I am more competitive as an individual if I don't believe I can become depressed. So I don't give a fuck if I'm right or wrong, because no matter what bad happens to me in my life, even if, heaven forbid, the worst things on earth that could happen to me, I could never become clinically depressed, because I would never self-diagnose myself as clinically depressed, because I don't believe in it. I believe that I am currently sad, but I have work to do, and eventually I will feel better. I will never get to a point of absolute desperation and kill myself, because I'm never going to get to a point of hopelessness, because I don't believe in the idea of hopelessness. You cannot try and make me adopt thinking that will reduce my competitiveness as an individual. So I don't give a fuck if I'm wrong. I don't believe in it. That's it. End of story. So I don't believe in things that take power away from me. I don't believe in things that make me less competitive. And I don't adopt mental models that make me less competitive. Every single mental model I have are the most efficient ones I could find. To the mental model I found that if I adopt, I become a more fearsome predator. That's it. So this is how I've come to all of my conclusions as an individual.
At this point, coming up, upbringing, band, today, is there any specific belief system you follow?
I'm glad you asked that, because when they attacked me, when the Matrix attacked me, they said that I purport misogyny and I believe in chauvinistic principles and all this absolute garbage. And when they said that about me, I understood it's very important that I create a list and explain to the world exactly what I believe. So without looking unprofessional, I've written it down. I would like to actually say I've written 41 tenets of thing I believe in. And if you hear any that you disagree
41 tenets.
41 tenets.
Interesting.
If you disagree with any of them, I would love to hear feedback on any of them. So these are the 41 things I believe in most. And before I read out this framework, it doesn't matter if you are a Muslim, a Christian. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, weak or strong. I think if any man lives true to these tenets, they're going to have a fantastic relationship with life. And also they're going to be a good force and good influence for people around them. And I think that all in all, they're going to enjoy their experience, their human experience, and the people close to them will also enjoy their presence. So that's what this is about. These are the 41 things I believe. So here we go. I believe that men have the divine imperative to become as capable, powerful, and competent as possible in this life. I reserve my human right to hold my own beliefs and practice them as I see fit, and allow other people the same right to believe and act as they wish. I prefer loving, rewarding, consensual relationships with beautiful, positive, and virtuous women. I believe men and women are different, and that each has their own unique and important strengths and abilities. I believe men have the sacred duty to protect and provide for the important people in their lives. I believe men have the sacred duty to protect the innocence and sanctity of their children and reserve the right and responsibility to raise their children as they see best to ensure their long-term happiness and success. I believe that men have the sacred duty to raise strong, capable, and honorable sons. I believe that men have the sacred duty to raise kind, feminine, and virtuous daughters. I utterly disapprove of violence within romantic or familiar relationships. I support good and honest governments and will obey their laws. I prefer to only conduct business dealings with trusted and vetted brothers. I believe that a man has the sacred duty to hold true to his word and do exactly what he says he will do. I believe that a man's life is difficult and that he has the sacred duty to become strong to handle such difficulty. I believe men are personally responsible for their actions and for the results they achieve in their lives. I believe in emotional control and the vital need to become disciplined and professional in all things. I believe that men have the sacred duty to approach everything in life from a position of strength. I believe that all men have the sacred duty to become men of upright and virtuous character and live above all possible reproach. I believe it is incumbent upon me to ruthlessly identify my own weaknesses and limitations, and I eagerly work to overcome them and become more capable in all realms. I seek to improve my personal freedom to think, act, and live true to my masculine imperative in all ways. I believe each man has a sacred duty to mold the physical body into the strongest, most resilient, and most capable version of itself. I believe that men have the sacred duty to rigorously train themselves, both physically and mentally, every day. I believe that I have the sacred duty to only eat the highest quality foods possible. I reserve the right to protect the sanctity of my bloodstream and make my own decisions about medical care and procedures. I affirm the importance of endlessly improving my mental faculties through diligent work, study, and practice. I believe in acquiring wealth and abundance in order to improve my life and do good for those I care about. I believe in the merits of healthy competition and constantly encourage all men to seek out competition to improve themselves. I believe that masculine brotherhood is essential to men's mental health, happiness, and success, and I relentlessly encourage men to meet together, train together, and work together. I maintain the trust of my brothers through reverent silence regarding our most sacred and shared experiences. I believe in honoring my ancestors and living in a way that would make most of them proud of me today. I reserve the right to administer difficult rites of passage for our young men to allow them to earn the rank of manhood. I affirm the importance and need for travel and adventure as men. I seek to help men overcome poor mental health through embracing hard work, physical improvements, and shared masculine brotherhood. I reserve the right to make the best choices I can at the time to protect myself and respect my mental health. I do good in the world and seek to help those less fortunate. I believe all men have the responsibility to lead and guide those they care about for greater health, prosperity, and happiness. I choose to only interact with those who are respectful and civil to me in return for my own respectfulness and civility. I reserve the freedom to speak and refer to others as I believe is best and most truthful. I reserve the right to choose my company and include only those whom I believe are best for my health, happiness, and success. I believe I have an imperative to only spend my time in a way that I determine is beneficial, uplifting, and empowering to myself and others. I choose to only allow myself to be influenced by those who I believe have my best interests in mind. And the final one, each day I dedicate myself anew to create the greatest possible positive impact on the world and do the work necessary to achieve a greater masculine excellence across all realms of human endeavor. Those are the 41 things.
Powerful.
Thank you.
When did you write that?
I wrote this last night, about half of them, and the other half on the way here.
Wow.
You said last night you
Yes.
came up with this?
Yeah, I decided to explain exactly my beliefs. So these are the 41 tenets I believe in, and I think they can apply to any man on the planet. And if a man lives true to these, it's going to be beneficial for both him and everybody who loves him and the world as a whole. I don't think it's possible to find a negative connotation to any of those 41 tenets. That's what I personally think.
Powerful, man.
If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch the entire podcast, click over here. And if you want to be connected with experts, influencers such as Kiyosaki, Tate, Connolly, Paul Menteri, myself, and others, download the app Minect, where you get a chance to connect with these folks by the minute. You get to buy the minute or have FaceTimes with them, 15 minutes, ask them any questions you may want to have. Download the app Minect and start connecting with influencers and experts today.
For now, at least, you can't escape the brutal realities of the real world. I think also that, truthfully, on your deathbed, you're going to regret all the chances you didn't take. I think especially as a man. I think we're out here to conquer. I've always taken a lot of risks. I've always been a risk taker. That's who I am as a person. No death, no risk, no glory. I've always been that guy. And I feel like a lot of it is also for you to decide in yourself and decide with your own conscience will I be comfortable if I go to 6 out of 10, or do I really need to be 10 out of 10? And that's fine. Everyone's different, right? But yeah, I think you should set the goal that you're truthfully prepared to live that lifestyle of.
Everyone can be a better version of themselves.
Well, everyone can be a better version of themselves completely, and it's down to the three things I said earlier: stupid, lazy, arrogant. I think most people are just too arrogant to learn. And I'll give you an example of it. I am a billionaire. I will tell you how to make money, and I will give you knowledge and advice via email for free each day. There are people who will sit and watch this knowing that and still not sign up. Explain that to me. They're like, how could you sit and go, this guy's smart, he's entertaining, he knows things, he has a free email list. I am too lazy to type in
or arrogant
to sign up for free. It takes 6 seconds. And they still won't do it. Of the 1 million people who watch this, half of them will sign up and half of them won't. And the half that don't will still be like, I'll get rich one day. No, you fucking won't. You're a dumbass.
So if a man isn't rich, can they be deemed as successful?
Completely. You have to decide. Yeah, it depends. There are people who are dedicated to surfing and they live in a tent in Bali and they surf every day.
And love every minute of it.
And they smile. That's fantastic. You have to decide what you want in life. I wanted to conquer the world. And if you're going to conquer the world in the modern society we live in, that's going to be a fiscal conquer. That's what you're going to do. You're going to make a bunch of money. How else are you going to conquer the world? That's what I wanted. You have to decide what you want. And there's different folks for different strokes. And it takes a lot of different kind of people to make the world go round. But if you truly want to conquer the world, you're going to end up wanting a bunch of money because that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So you have to decide the life you want to live. Right?
So if you had a teenage son, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give him to break through the matrix and achieve success in life, whatever that is for him?
I'm actually genuinely worried about my children because I grew up so broke and they're going to be so fucking rich.
It is a worry, isn't it?
It's a worry because you're a different man when you have no safety net. You're a different man when you have to pull it off. No, I need to. No, I literally have to pull this off. I have to roll the dice. Most men don't understand what it feels like to roll the dice and you have to get a 6. They go, what do you mean you have to? No, I have to get a 6.
Yeah.
Oh, but what if you don't? No, I have to get a 6. You're not understanding me. So that's extremely character building. And for that reason, I'm going to make sure that my children, another thing that comes with it, I took a bunch of risks that I would never be comfortable with my children taking because this is the problem. You go soft, right?
Yes.
I was riding around on a motorcycle with no insurance, running from the cops.
Yeah.
I could have been splattered on the road, and I would never want my son to do that. But at the same time, I want him to be like me. Yeah. So it's difficult. It's hard because you won't be satisfied with yourself. If you're given a bunch of money, you're never gonna be happy with money.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And 2, there's so many lessons that come along the way with business that you can't just skip, right? So I know exactly what you mean. But as for my teenage son, I'm gonna try very hard to. He's gonna have problems he needs to solve. And I think if you're a young man, even if you're not my child, if you're just any man who's out there in the world today, you need to look at some problems that need solving, either for yourself or for society, and find a way to fix them. And I think that you should just adopt some problems and try and fix them. It doesn't matter what it is. You can just try and fix the litter in your area, or you can try and get a 6-pack or whatever you want. Cowardice is the problem. The world is full of cowards. We suffer from a pandemic of cowardice. We've never suffered from any other pandemic the last 3 years. People are absolutely and utterly cowards, and they do to me what they did to me to scare people. If you tell the average person you're going to lose contact with basically everyone you can speak to, you're not going to have a voice anymore, you're not going to have a bank account, you're not going to be able to make money online, you're not going to be able to move anywhere, you're not going to be able to transact, we're going to wreck you head to toe, the average person can't deal with that, right? On top of the fact that the average person is employed and they're scared of losing their job, scared of their employer. I'm in a unique situation because I'm extremely difficult to hurt. But the average person, as soon as you hurt their money, their life is over, right? And that's what we've got. We've got to a level of cowardice amongst the population where people are just going to sit there and ignore objective reality because they're scared of having this cancellation weapon used against them. So yeah, you're right. It's not that people don't agree with us. It's not that we're not saying the things that everyone knows are intrinsically true. It's that everybody's afraid to say it. And that can only end when everybody stands up and stops agreeing and playing this game and stops being cowards. We need mass numbers of people to say, no, I'm allowed an opinion. You know what? Nigel Farage, and since UKIP ended, I don't even know about his politics nowadays. I don't even know what he's doing. But he said something that was really interesting. He was asked about who runs the world. And I guess the person was trying to set him up for a question about the elites. And he said, truthfully, I'll tell you who runs the world. We do. Because we decide how much of this crap we're going to put up with. The problem is we're putting up with too much of it. The problem is everyone's a coward. And you're right. I get the same thing. Wow, thanks for saying it. Why don't you say it? And everyone is just terrified. And it really is truly crazy because fear has always been the control mechanism of man. The worst things that have ever happened in any society or any civilization since the dawn of fucking records has been done under the name of fear. Get the population afraid. What did Goebbels say? The propaganda minister of the Third Reich. Once people are afraid, give them a common enemy. They'll do anything you want. That's the Nazis knew this. Everyone knows this, right? So it's a basic playbook, but I think it's also a larger issue. I think that things like making sure people are semi-depressed, making sure people are divided, making sure people are selfish, making sure people are self-obsessed. They're trying to destroy people's will to stand up and care about anyone other than themselves. And once you do that, coupling with the fact that if you start to care about others and genuinely care about the world, you'll ruin your own life. It just makes people shut up.
Yeah. And it's so interesting you say that, because something that is not often discussed or analyzed, one of the strangest things I've seen in the conversation around you and your meteoric rise in fame and popularity this year, is not a lot of people are thinking, okay, well, for that to happen, he's got to be saying some real stuff, right? Like, you don't grow by hundreds of thousands of followers per day. Like I've been following you for years, but I think at the beginning of the year, did you have maybe 500,000 Instagram followers? Yeah. And by the time they took you off, you had about 5.7, 5.8 million. Yeah. This is in the space of a few months. So even when I was talking to people who, say they don't like you, I'm like, look, even if you don't like the message, you don't agree with it, rather than just, why don't you think about, okay, what is it? What's happening in the world? And what is it that this man is saying that this is resonating with so many people to such a strong degree? And it seems like people wanted to just skip over that and go, but
these people can't think. These people cannot think. Yeah. It's almost a sad realization when you wake up and understand that there's a large contingent of the world who cannot think. And when I say that, I don't mean that in some kind of, semi-sarcastic, or I mean that literally. There are people who have a strong emotional reaction to subjects they completely don't understand. There are people out there who will stand up and say, I hate Andrew Tate. Why? I hate him. He needs to go to jail. Yeah. Like, okay, why? I hate him. Why? They don't know why. Once the Matrix can program an emotional response into you, and you can't even logically with your own words explain why you have that emotional response, you're completely a slave mind. These people don't think about anything. They believe what they're told to believe. They're emotional about what they're told to be emotional about in the exact direction they're told to be. And that's what the Matrix wants. It wants to be able to say a name and tell the world to hate them without even giving a reason and just get what they want. These people are so far gone. These individuals who they cannot logically explain their own emotions are so far gone, it's ridiculous. As an adult, what you need to do is seriously analyze every strongly held belief you currently have and work out where it came from. Is it personal experience? Is it from somebody who I care about and who I trust? Is it from what the news has said? Why do I believe this so much? Why do I have an emotional response to this? Where did it come from? People don't do that. They just sit there, watch the news, watch social media. I'm supposed to hate this guy, so I now hate this guy. So I know exactly what you're talking about, Zuby, because you're right. These people cannot think. They cannot even give a reason. There's a guy on TikTok who walks around and says, have you heard of Andrew Tate around college campuses? And people go, yeah. And he goes, do you like him? And they go, no. Why? He's a misogynist. What's misogynist mean? And then they can't answer. They don't know what they don't even know what it means. Like it's almost sad. But then you live through the last 3 years and you realize that people can't think. There's a large contingent of the world that truly cannot think. It's scary.
Yeah, it is kind of scary. I mean, it's so interesting because as someone who knows you, and privately and publicly, I've defended you a lot this year because people have been saying super wild stuff, and people don't. I posted actually when were we in Romania? 2020. Yeah. I posted, it was while they were in the process of taking away your accounts. I posted a photo I was just reading the comments and I was like, wow, people have such strong emotion. Why you, like, people will be mad that we're sitting here right now. You can't talk to this person. You shouldn't talk to that person, and so on. And the thing that blows my mind about it is, number one, I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. Yeah. Like, I'm a good judge of character in general. And also, I think that your overall message to me is very clearly positive. Yeah. That's the thing about it. To me, it's like, look, someone might not like this bit or that bit or disagree with that statement, but I'm like, look, overall, what this it's not that dissimilar to me to what they tried to do with Jordan Peterson. Like you have, I'd say the overall message, perhaps even of all three of us, is somewhat similar. There's a certain through line about personal responsibility, building yourself up, especially as a man, not falling into this victim game, improving your mindset, improving your body, all of these things. But people will just ignore all of that. They'll just ignore all the positive. They'll ignore the fact that you're helping people, motivating people, helping people. You get emails. I've had emails. Oh man, I was feeling suicidal. I was feeling this. I was feeling that. And just listening to you helped me. It motivated me, got me in the gym and so on. And people will just gloss over all of that. Completely. And they make it out as if like all you talk about is women or something.
And that's what's crazy. But the reason they'll gloss over all of that is because, like I said, you have to ignore your own eyes. That's what they want. When you're fully slave-minded, I will genuinely state this as a fact. I will state this as a fact, even though I don't know it's a fact. But I would love for someone to do the study. Go out there in the world and ask 100 people if you like Andrew Tate or not. And the ones who say yes and the ones who say no, do an IQ test. And I guarantee you, the biggest idiots out there, when I see people who dislike me and I see them trying to explain why, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. It's like, it's English, but it doesn't make logical sense. And yeah, they'll come at me with the garbage about being a misogynist, etc. Not very often do people argue my points, because arguing my points is absolute destruction because they know they're wrong. So what they try and do is discredit my character. They say he's a bad person, he's a misogynist, he's done this, he's done that, he's evil. But what does he say that you disagree with? What does he say that's wrong? Oh, but he's a bad person. They can't argue against my points. And the only reason they try and say I'm a bad person is because they're weaponizing virtue to try and find a way to attack me. They can't attack me logically because they know I'm right. They can't attack my successes as a man or as a person. They can't say I'm not successful. They can't find anything bad to say about me besides bald, which they probably come at you with. But they say, where's your hair? It's like, okay, cool. I shaved it off. Which is ridiculous in and of itself. But then they say, okay, well, then he's a bad person. And the thing about it is, once they understand that the only way they can attack you is by saying you're a bad person, it doesn't matter once that you prove them wrong. They're not interested in the truth. They're not interested in truth. You can sit and say, here's proof he's not a misogynist. Here's proof he has no criminal record, never done anything wrong. Here's proof he's a nice person. Here's proof he gives to charity. Here's the orphanage he built. Here's the dogs he rescued. Here's the millions he's given away. Here. They don't want to see it. They're just blind to it. They're like, no, I ignore my own eyes. That can't possibly be true because the media told me this guy must be bad. And they're slave-minded. And what's actually scary is that these people genuinely believe that they're the good people of Earth. And it's always completely the opposite. Those who can be programmed by the media machine and the matrix to just be slave-minded and not think for themselves are the exact ones who always commit the most atrocities. These are always the people who end up doing the most heinous shit. And when you ask them why, they're like, oh, well, at the time, I just put on the gas chamber, newspaper told me to, oops. That's who these people are. So whenever I see a slave-minded person, it's not just a matter of going, oh, well, you're a dummy. I look at them with genuine disdain. I look at you and think you're actually a bad person. You're genuinely evil. You cannot think for yourself. I don't even see you as a person I ever want to get to know or I'd love to deprogram you, but it's impossible. These people are genuinely the worst people on the planet. And it's kind of convenient that all the people who dislike me are the worst people on the planet. So it's fine. I don't have to talk to them anyway. But if you read any history book, read any of it, all the most heinous shit committed by humanity were people who just couldn't think for them fucking selves. Every single time.
Awful. The worst things that have happened and that happen, I don't believe happen because most people are malicious or evil. I think it's that they are cowardly. I think a lot of it is cowardice. I think most people would rather be in the majority than be right. And once people have made up a decision or been told what to think, doesn't matter what the issue is, to get them out of it or to admit that they're coming out of it is extraordinarily difficult. We're still dealing with this after the past 2.5 years that we've lived through with the whole C-19 response and the fact that people are trying to memory hole things and act like they never said things and never did things. They want to just, okay, like we're just totally back to normal as if, a year ago you didn't want to throw people into a gulag or whatever.
Sorry to interrupt, but you're so right. But this is the thing that aggravates me the most. These slave-minded individuals they're literally barely sentient individuals. If I was the kind of person, if I was walking around with a mask on and screaming at my fellow man in supermarkets, and I've now realized that I was wrong because COVID is still here, and I'm not wearing a mask anymore. Neither is anyone else. I would feel deep shame. I would be apologetic. I would literally be saying to the world, I can't believe they fooled me like that. I don't know who you were, who I was yelling at in the supermarket. You were smarter than me. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. They fooled me. They tricked me. These people don't even feel shame. They don't even feel sorry. They don't even sit and go, wow, they made a fool out of me. It doesn't even cross their minds. They're on to the next thing now. Slava Ukraine. Next thing. They don't give a shit. And it's just truly amazing that they can destroy someone's life for 3 years and then recruit these people to go out there and push the agenda for them. And all the people who were tools of an agenda, now the agenda is over, are not sentient enough to sit and go, wow, they fooled me. I need to think more carefully next time they try and fool me. No. They just continue with the programming. These people are completely and utterly slave-minded, genuinely slaves. They live inside of a system, and the system they're going to purport and fight to defend is going to destroy them. They're not fighting for a system which is going to give them anything other than absolute slavery and tyranny. It's truly incredible to watch in real time this kind of crap happening. But these people are beyond saving, and obviously people like you and I stand up. But even though we're trying to help them, once they come for us with the cancellation mob, these people cheer. It's to a degree you'd like to think it's demoralizing. You'd say, well, why am I trying to save people from themselves if they're truly this stupid? But the odd ones that you can speak to and the minds you can free kind of make it worth it. But yeah, there are so many people out there that literally have never analyzed their own life and decisions. I say this to everybody at home. When I still had Twitter, I used to do tweets all the time talking about all the influencers, including conservative right-wing influencers who were purporting and pushing the mask agenda. Yes. You need to fucking apologize. You can't just memory hole it. You can't just delete the tweet. I saw it, and the world saw it, and you know who you are. Say sorry. Say sorry. Say, I was a fool. They made a fool of me, and admit it, because if you don't admit your mistakes, you're going to repeat them. My point is, I don't understand or I don't fathom the concept of fun. I don't wake up and think, what can I do for fun? I don't wake up and think, what is fun? I want fun. That never crosses my mind. I wake up and think, I have things to do. And if I don't have things to do, I'll find things to do. You can always do more work. There's no such thing as no work to do. After this podcast is done, you can release it. And you can make X amounts of clips. That's going to be done. And then you could watch it back and you could analyze every word you've ever said. And you could find a way to say it differently. You could look at dictionary and find new words and you could learn them and you can memorize them. Then you could sit down and you could rehearse it and use those words and sentences to make sure you pronounce them correctly and you don't make any mistakes. Then you could always do more work from the same thing. The work is never ending. The money is never ending.
So you have to find joy in your work.
You have to find purpose at least. I don't know if I even find joy in my work because I'm stressed and annoyed. I'm furious all the time. What do you mean we've made $1.3 million today? It's a joke. Flip the computer. But you have to conquer the earth. Let's talk about this. Why did Genghis Khan wake up and think, you know what? What can I do for fun? Well, I can play this instrument. That shit. Play the instrument for me. Diddle-ling-ling-ling. Boring. Okay, let me fuck this girl. Fucked her. Let me fuck her. Oh, kid number 84. Boring. What's there to do? You know what, guys? Let's all get our horses and let's just ride over there, and whatever we find, let's just take it. Why? Because it's the instinct to conquer. It's inside of a man. It's been dumbed down by the Matrix. They try and numb you. They numb you with entertainment. They try and put you in the festival crowd. They numb you with shit food. They numb you with depression, all this other garbage. But truthfully, if you're a man, you look in the mirror, what will make me happy? My empire will make me happy. That's why Alexander the Great did what he did, and Julius Caesar did what he did, and Genghis Khan did what he did. They didn't have Google Maps. They didn't know where they were going. They just said, no, we've decided we're going to go take shit from other people and show we're the best. And that's what we're doing now, the successful men at least, in a financial sense. Why am I making money? I have nothing to buy. There's nothing to buy. I have it all. I have 4 Kernan's eggs, a Rimac, a Bugatti, 53 other cars, 40 properties. There's nothing to buy. I'm just taking it from other people. I'm winning the game. I'm conquering. And that's what I think truly is going to give you purpose in life. It's just conquest. Men have always been this way. That's why war was even happening in the first place. The Mongols raided Vienna. How long does it take to ride from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, on a horse to Vienna, Austria, across all of Siberia? And they were still mad enough and bored enough to go, nah, we need that city over there. That's the masculine essence, and it's been numbed down inside of people. Do you think they were ever considering fun at any point during this conquest? Because I don't think they were.
Well, do you think they were just trying to dominate others?
I don't think it's about trying to dominate. I think that inside of every single man, there's a God-given. I think that the entire world was built by this God-given drive to conquer. And to conquer doesn't always mean dominate others. You can conquer the sky by building a skyscraper. You can conquer by building roads. You can conquer by construction, not only by destruction. You conquer by turning up to a new territory and having a beautiful family and creating children. I think that's inside of every single man. I think it's been dumbed down by the Matrix, but I'm uninterested in fun. I don't understand the concept of fun. Fun is for women and children. All the women around me have fun. Last night, I went to a restaurant. My brother and I, 3 or 4 friends, maybe 25 of the most beautiful women you've ever seen in your life. We sit down at this table. All this fancy food comes. All these bottles of champagne come. Everyone comes. The girls are laughing, drinking. Everyone's having fun. Never at any point during the entire experience did I have any fun. I sat down on my phone, checked how much money I had, again, did some work, replied to important people, spoke to my fight coach about training and important things, spoke to the war room about important things in conquest, spoke to my legal team. Everyone around me is having fun. I'm getting things done. Looks like I'm having fun. But never did I ever for a second feel fun. And I didn't want to. I didn't try and join in the fun. I didn't try and go, yeah. No. I pay for it all. You all have fun. I'm going to do this. And I say this, I say this all the time to the people I care about. Your life is fun and my life is stress, but you are mine. That's how it works. You're my woman, so you're allowed to have fun. And my life is going to stay stress, but you are mine. I have my fun via proxy by making sure everybody I love have fun. I don't want any fun.
So you have fun in providing.
I provide fun, but I don't have any fun. I don't even have fun in providing fun. It's just my obligation. Everyone around me has fun. I'm working.
So if you had a teenage son, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give him to break through the matrix and achieve success in life, whatever that is for him?
I'm actually genuinely worried about my children because I grew up so broke and they're going to be so fucking rich.
It is a worry, isn't it?
It's a worry because you're a different man when you have no safety net. You're a different man when you have to pull it off. No, I need to. No, I literally have to pull this off. I have to roll the dice. Most men don't understand what it feels like to roll a dice and you have to get a 6. They go, what do you mean you have to? No, I have to get a 6.
Yeah.
Oh, but what if you don't? No, I have to get a 6. You're not understanding me. So that's extremely character building. And I think if you're a young man, even if you're not my child, if you're just any man who's out there in the world today, you need to look at some problems that need solving either for yourself or for society and find a way to fix them. And I think that you should just adopt some problems and try and fix them. It doesn't matter what it is. You can just try and fix the litter in your area, or you can try and get a 6-pack or whatever you want. Men are builders. The modern world, call me misogynistic, the modern world was built by men. Every building you're in was built by men. Every road you drive on was built by men. We're builders. We build things. And that's what you should be focused on. And like I said before, if you're hardworking and you build, and I think you'll do well in life. That's what it's really about. You can't hide away from the brutal realities of work. That's it. And while we're on the subject, that's actually where these last 2 years have been pure clown world, because I've known some people who have made a bunch of money in crypto. And I've said to them, what you've just gone through, what you've just done is once in a generation, and it's completely ruined you. Because normally, if you make, let's say, 200 grand, you have learned lessons to make that 200 grand. Yeah. You've learned marketing, you've learned sales, you've learned how to manage staff, you learn how to deal with pressure, you learn how to be on time, you've learned a bunch of things.
So you can continue it.
So you can continue. And even if you lose all the money, you retain the lessons.
100%.
What have you learned? You bought a coin, it went up. Okay, good. You have not learned a single fucking thing about how money is made, about personal development. You didn't even learn how to have a firm handshake and put on a tie. You learned nothing. You pulled it off. You made a few dollars. You've lost them now. And now the worst thing about it is you think you're too good for work. You think you're so smart now. Yeah. Oh, I made it. This is the next one. You got lucky. Now you think you're too good to actually get up and grind. You think you're just going to pull it off again, another lottery win. And you don't think you have to work very hard. And guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to end up fucking broke, because that's not the reality of the world. That clown world shit is over. All that shit is over. We're about to get into harder times than ever. If you're sitting at home and you made a bit of money with crypto and you think, don't worry, it's going to go up again soon, you're just praying for some external force. That's not self-accountability. Sitting and watching the Bitcoin price, waiting for it to go up so you have money, is not self-accountability. That's prayer. You might as well just do the lottery numbers. all these people who made money in this clown world, a lot of them haven't learned any lessons about the reality of Earth. And it's about to get a lot harder. Inside of my school, The Real World, we have an entire subject on attention and focus because a lot of kids, especially young kids now, can't even pay attention. No. We have to teach them from the beginning how to watch the lessons because they're too long and they can't focus.
It's crazy. It's like picking up your phone all the time. Like even some of the people that work for us, you know, I want them to be focusing on their job and they're always on their phone. It's not Kai. It's a lot of other people.
I know.
But yeah, they're always on their phone. It's breaking their attention and they don't realize it's not the time just on their phone. It's like taking them out from it and then back into it. It takes you a bit of time to get into it.
Completely. People can't even focus anymore.
Yeah.
And so inside the school, in the real world, we have to teach people how to focus again. So like these last few years have been complete clown world. And I think we're about to hit very, very difficult times. But in hard times, the people who are good at the game get very rich.
Well, we interviewed Tom Hartley very recently, the supercar dealer, and he made his money from 11 years old to 17, lost $1 million at that point, went back to broke. But the words he said were, I learned all those lessons. I can get there again.
Completely. How do you deal with procrastination and laziness?
Why are you asking me that question? Why are you on this podcast asking me how to stop procrastinating? Turn off YouTube. Go do something. Jesus Christ. What's wrong with people? This is exactly what you were talking about asking a question where you already know the answer to. You know the answer is to stop doing things that waste your time and apply yourself to something important. Now, this may not be a waste of your time, but let me tell you, you're a dumbass, clearly. It's like Googling how to get fit, like you just said. Everyone knows what a push-up is. Do 10,000 of them a day. Stop wasting your fucking time. You know, I've never had to deal with procrastination. I've never had to deal with not being motivated because what is the alternative? Literally, be a loser forever. I am sick of reading shit on the internet saying, yeah, you know, some people are special and they take longer to bloom and your time will come. Let me tell you something. 99.9% of people who are born broke, live broke, stay broke, die broke. That is the reality for almost everybody. The internet and it's all going to come to you at the right time bullshit is fucking a psyop to keep you down. You already know the answer. You don't need me to tell you. Why the fuck are you asking 4 men who do not know you personally how to stop wasting your time? I don't even know what you do to waste your time. You already know the fucking answer. Can we ban this guy from our feed or do you guys want to hit him up first?
Yeah, no, yeah. You nailed it. Procrastination. I'm not going to try and change who you are as an individual. I don't know you. Right?
Have fun staying poor.
Have fun staying poor. I don't know your genetic makeup. If you were a warrior, you wouldn't be asking that question. So you're either going to become a warrior or you need to adopt the ways of a warrior or you need to accept your position in life, which is just to suffer the pain of being a loser forever.
Yeah, get a job at the car wash. Maybe I'll tip you one day.
Yeah, correct.
Enjoy.
I agree with what they're both saying on a very, very practical level. Me and Andrew were talking about this on the day, just this morning on the way to lunch, I guess, or this afternoon. Is be imperfect on purpose, man. Like, I always tell people, like, shoot the fucking gun, shoot. And as long as you're aiming in the general direction you're supposed to, no matter what you do, the first time you shoot that gun, you're going to have to adjust the scope. So shoot the fucking gun so you know how far you're off. Every business pivots. Every workout plan is going to pivot. Everything is going to change. You have to shoot the gun to know how far you're off, and then you start honing it in, and then you actually have a little bit of positive momentum that'll get your ass up and going. So shoot the fucking gun, miss on purpose, be imperfect on purpose, take action over everything because you're never going to do it perfect anyway. So just go.
I hope that what these two gentlemen said just now about you being a loser and me staying broke pisses you off.
Yeah.
Because if it pisses you off, you might actually do something.
Yep.
That is actually the blessing that these two just gave you, is pissing you off.
Or I'll see you in the car wash.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care if you turn your life around. I don't know you. I don't care.
There's not many truly, like, if you put effort into the universe, I think it's Newton's second law, right? Equal and opposite force. People always say, oh, I wish I had something to work on. You could work hard on anything. It can be the most jackass thing. You can work hard on, I don't know, fucking whittling buildings. Whittling twigs. But if you truly work your ass,
get the real talk on Patreon. Join us and elevate your mindset.